My name is Carol Bennett, and I'm 65 years old, living in a quiet suburb of Detroit, Michigan. The kind of neighborhood where folks mow their lawns every Saturday and kids still ride bikes until dusk. For 43 years, I was married to Dennis, the love of my life, who passed away 8 months ago from a sudden heart attack. He was my rock, a mechanic by trade, but a dreamer at heart. I spent my career as an ICU nurse at St. Mary's Hospital, dealing with life and death every shift. It taught me resilience, but nothing prepared me for the emptiness after Dennis was gone. Our son, Brian, 38 now, lives across town with his wife, Vanessa. They've been married 2 years, and let's just say she's always struck me as too polished, too perfect, but I kept my mouth shut for family. It started with the garage door open. That's what hit me first that April morning. I was in the kitchen, coffee going cold in my hands, staring out the window above the sink. The door was rolled up, the space inside dark, despite the sunlight. Dennis never left it open. Not once in 43 years. But Dennis wasn't here anymore. 8 months of widowhood had me jumping at shadows, but this felt wrong. I set the mug down, slipped out the back door in my slippers, and crossed the yard. The grass needed mowing. I'd been meaning to call someone. The concrete floor was cool under my feet as I stepped inside. The oil stain in the center stared back at me, dark and familiar. 20 years of the same car parking in the same spot leaves its mark. But the spot was empty. Just empty. My chest tightened like a vice. I braced against the doorframe, breathed deep. In through the nose, out through the mouth, like I taught patients in the ICU. Breathe, think, act. But all I could think was the car was gone. Dennis's pride and joy, the 1967 Shelby GT500 he'd restored piece by piece over 2 decades. His workbench along the back wall was untouched. Tools hung on the pegboard, each outlined in black marker for their spot. His red toolbox sat closed, his work journal open beside it, pages filled with his small, careful handwriting. I picked up the journal, flipped to the last entry, dated 3 weeks before he died. His letters looked tired, looser than usual. Almost done. 20 years on this beauty. Can't wait to teach Carol to drive her properly. Our retirement road trip starts next summer. I closed it, placed it back precisely, and inhaled the garage's scent. Motor oil, old leather, that orange hand soap he loved. I could almost hear his classic rock on the old radio, him singing off key when he thought I wasn't listening. The emptiness echoed louder without the car. A car engine rumbled outside on Oakwood Drive. I turned to see Brian's black BMW pull into the driveway. Leased, not bought, as he'd bragged at Christmas like it was a trophy. Brian stepped out, 38 but still hunching his shoulders like a kid caught in trouble. He shoved his hands in his pockets, avoiding my eyes. Vanessa emerged from the passenger side, flawless as ever, smooth dark hair, designer sunglasses, clothes that screamed money. She stood by the car, watching me through those shades. Brian approached, stopping at the driveway's edge. "Mom," he said, his voice tentative. I waited, arms crossed. "Where's the car?" My words came out sharper than intended. His jaw tightened. "That's what I need to talk to you about. Where is it?" "I sold it." The words landed like a slap, but my brain lagged, translating them slowly. "You what?" "I sold it yesterday." He glanced at the empty garage, then the ground. "I needed the money. Vanessa's been planning this Paris trip for months. It's important for her business connections. I couldn't let her down." The tightness spread to my throat. My hands shook, so I clenched my fists. "That was your father's car." "It was just sitting there." His tone turned defensive. "Dad's gone, Mom. You don't even drive it." "Was." The past tense hit like ice. Brian finally met my eyes, red-rimmed, tired. "I got a good price for it, too. $15,000. That's fair for a car that old." $15,000 for Dennis's 20-year labor of love? The car he'd promised would stay in the family? I wanted to scream, to shake him until he saw the betrayal. but 43 years in the ICU had drilled control into me. When did you take it? Yesterday afternoon. You were at the store. He still had his key from when he lived here, before Vanessa. Dennis always left the garage unlocked, wanted quick access if inspiration struck. You should have asked me. Would you have said yes? No, I wouldn't have. Vanessa strode up then, moving like she owned the place. She placed a hand on Brian's arm, her red nails perfect. Carol, we're not discussing this. It's done. The car is sold. We leave for Paris tomorrow. I stared at her, really seeing her for the first time. 2 years married to my son, and I knew nothing real about her. Her past, her family, her smiles never reached her eyes. This is between me and my son. I'm his wife. What's between you and him is between all of us. She said it pleasant, reasonable, like explaining to a child. Brian needed that, I supposed. The car was sitting unused. It made sense to sell it. It was his father's. His father is dead. She said it flat, matter of fact. And Brian is trying to build a life. Both of us are. Surely you understand that. I couldn't speak, just looked at Brian. He avoided my gaze. Vanessa's hand stayed possessive on his arm. We'll send you pictures from Paris, she added, smiling. You'd love it there. The architecture, the museums, very romantic. Did casual cruelty stung? Like she didn't know, or maybe she did. Brian shifted. We should go. Still need to pack. Yes, Vanessa tugged his arm. We have an early flight. They walked to the BMW. Brian glanced back once, seeing me in Dennis's garage in my slippers. Then he drove off. I watched until they turned the corner, then returned to the garage, standing over the oil stain. The silence was hollow. Morning sun lit dust motes in the air. I picked up Dennis's journal again and reread his words about our road trip. Tears threatened, but I locked the door, turned off the light, and went inside with the journal clutched tight.
3 days later, Eric visited with the briefcase. Are you sure about this plan? He asked. Yes, I said, unwavering. I'd hidden my CEO role, using my mother's name as the legal representative to stay modest. Brandon never knew I controlled the contracts his company, Vital Tech, relied on. I signed a letter terminating our supply agreement, which accounted for 60% of Vital's revenue, a deal Brandon had boasted about securing, unaware I approved it. The termination hit at 8 a.m. Monday. By 3 p.m., Vital's CEO called, asking why. I replied, one of your employees, Brandon Scott, showed inappropriate behavior and misused assets. That afternoon, I filed a counter-divorce, demanding Brandon vacate my house within 30 days. I'd bought it, adding his name only to appease him. Brandon came home pale, saying, I got laid off. I placed an envelope on the table. I ended that contract. I'm the CEO of SilverMed, Brandon. I paid every bill, your debts, your nephew's tuition, all because I believed in love. He stammered. This can't be real. I continued. Divorce papers, asset terms, and your lawyer meeting. You have 30 days to move out. I'm done covering the mortgage. 3 days later, Brandon called, panicked. I was wrong. You held everything together. I've lost the house, my job. Please, give me another chance. I listened, unmoved. You had a decade to respect me. Too late. He pleaded, mentioning our past happiness. I cut in. Do you remember Alyssa? Silence. Vital investigated. You had a relationship with Alyssa Morgan, the intern. He stammered denials. I hung up, blocked him, and emailed my lawyer for a no-contact clause and civil suit for infidelity. My lawyer, Eliza, brought screenshots of Brandon's flirtations with Alyssa, messages, hotel meetups, office selfies. I wasn't shocked, just relieved. Eliza demanded $85,000 in damages. Brandon tried contacting me, but security blocked him. I rewrote my finances, removing his expenses, and stepped back as CEO, promoting a new COO. After treatment, I moved to a lakeside house in Duluth. Simple, peaceful, mine. My final treatment ended with clear test results. I returned to work, greeted by applause and a mug reading, "Welcome back, boss." I declined date offers, needing time to heal. One evening, Eric visited my new home. "Remarriage?" he teased. I smiled. "Not now. I'm happy like this." Brandon's downfall spread. Vital's contract loss and his scandal made him unhireable. He moved to a cheap apartment, sold his car to pay debts, and worked a low-paying delivery job. Alyssa vanished, her family settling privately to avoid litigation. I stood on my balcony, feeling the breeze through my regrown hair, finally free. I'd overcome Brandon, illness, and fear. True happiness began when I chose self-respect over everything else. Caitlin's story is a powerful testament to resilience and self-discovery. Her journey from a successful yet silenced CEO to a woman who reclaims her worth is inspiring. Initially, she sacrifices her identity to maintain a failing marriage, enduring Brandon's indifference and disrespect. Her strength lies in her quiet endurance, managing a multi-million-dollar company while supporting a husband who belittles her. The turning point, her illness and Brandon's betrayal, ignites her transformation. Instead of breaking, she uses her power strategically, dismantling Brandon's false security while protecting her dignity. Her decisive choice to end the marriage and hold Brandon accountable reflects a profound shift. Caitlin doesn't seek revenge, she seeks justice, using her influence to expose his failures and secure her future. Her move to a peaceful lakeside home and focus on healing show a commitment to self-love over external validation. Caitlin's story reminds us that true strength emerges from adversity, and choosing oneself is the ultimate act of empowerment. What resonates most is her realization that happiness comes from within, not from pleasing others. What are your thoughts on Caitlin's journey? How do you view her choice to prioritize self-respect? Share in the comments and follow for more stories of triumph and transformation.